What up, cucks? I figured I'd make a video about the most hot topic issue presently affecting the world, quote unquote. And that is the ongoing conflict and the savage attack by Hamas to Israel. Now, let me make one thing clear, motherfucks. In my personal opinion, no matter who you are, no matter what you stand for, and no matter what you think about the situation, if you do not condemn the actions of Hamas, which include rape, shooting people that are begging for their lives, murder, killing of children, kidnappings, killing of elderly people, then you are not a good person. It's really as simple as that to me, right? I'm not saying you have to side with Israel. As a matter of fact, this video is going to be about the nuances of the situation. It's not going to be about that. But right is right and wrong is wrong. And someone's morals should never bend at the behest of an emotional appeal, right? Morals are morals. Right is right and wrong is wrong. It's as simple as that. And as far as I'm concerned, and if you disagree with me, I really have no opinions left on you, but if killing of civilians is fucked up, it's especially fucked up when you kill women and children, especially children, of course. And then any other kind of war crime-esque scenario, like, genocidal rape and things of that nature, torture, all these other things that really are gut-wrenching are even worse, right? So as far as I'm concerned, their situation is fucked, and the people that did those things are complete animals. Below animals, if you ask me, you know what I mean? Now, with respect to everything else that's going on, I don't know about the rest of you, but the hater knows a lot of people. And I happen to know a lot of people who are sympathetic with either side. Now, I will distinguish, motherfucks, that the people that are sympathetic to Palestine that I know still condemn the attacks, right? These are the people that say, like, well, what Hamas did was horrible, but, right? And they have like a but that follows it up, right? Then you have, of course, the Jews or Israelis or other Israeli sympathizers that say things like, what Hamas did was horrible. However, we also have to take some accountability, not for the terroristic actions, right? But let's be real. It's not like they're not completely divorced either, right? It's not like Hamas, went and attacked Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? No, they attacked the people that they perceive themselves to be at war with, right? So anyone who's sensible, right, is going to look at the nuances of this, and they're going to think, well, wait a second. It's not about who's right or wrong, because I think personally that's already been established. So groups like Black Lives Matter Chicago and some nerds in universities who are saying, like, we stand with Hamas, these people are complete animals, right? You cannot stand with Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization. However, the alternative is that a lot of people are saying, like, well, we should just go, or not we, I suppose, but Israel should just go and kill everyone in the Gaza Strip and destroy all of Hamas, right? Now, that's not a crazy proposition, except for the fact that innocent people will die. So if you're okay with throwing away innocent lives, I don't really like you either, motherfucks. And I think you also are morally corrupt and morally bankrupt, right? The correct thing to do here is, of course, in the short term, Israel is going to go and attack the Gaza Strip, right? Of course. They need to exact their pound of flesh. They need to exact revenge, right? Because if they don't, this sends a horrible message, right? This sends the message of, oh, you can kill 1,000 Israelis, right? And we're not going to do anything about it because, we're trying to be nice. No, you can't do that. They have to go kill a few people, right? And unfortunately, some civilians are going to die, right? It's just the way of the world, motherfucks. Some people are going to get raped. Some people are going to get murdered. It's impossible to have a war and not have people, at least, in the war, or in the case of Hamas, the entire organization, be horrific at times, right? That's just a fact of life. But insofar as who's right and who's wrong, right? That is something, like, obviously in the context of this last week, I suppose, it's been like a week, I think, right? Obviously, in the context of this week, Hamas is wrong, right? Because they paratrooped, they paraglided, motherfucks, into like a festival and killed like several hundred people. They're like spitting on dead bodies and these things that really, to me, just shows what kind of animals Hamas is. It's like they do not belong anywhere near me, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing in common with these fucks, and neither should you. However, if there's any kind of hope of moving forward, there's really only three options. One, the entirety of Israel is destroyed, which is obviously a shit option. Two, the entirety of Palestine is destroyed, which also obviously is a shit option. Or three, something else needs to be done, motherfucks. So, at the end of what will be probably a war of several weeks, if not months, right? At the end of this, hopefully not years, at the end of this, hopefully, some people are going to be like, okay, now it's time for everyone to shut the fuck up, and we got to come up with a new solution. Maybe this means giving a lot of economic aid to both countries so that they can grow economically and then nobody cares about any kind of divisions, right? I don't know what that looks like. In my personal opinion, there really is no solution, and I think it's going to keep going until one side just gets destroyed and deleted from history. I think that's what's going to happen. Hopefully, it won't happen for a few thousand years. Who the fuck knows, right? But there's no end in sight, right? So that makes it even more important for us as human beings, not necessarily to stand in solidarity with anyone, right? Because quite frankly, if I'm being 100% honest, I don't really give a flying fuck about the Israelis or the Palestinians, right? I care about people, right? These are human beings who have lives, right? And I value life. I don't really give a shit, like, if one person believes one thing or another person believes another thing. I value all life, right? Except for the life of horrible people, which is what Hamas is. So if I had it my way, I would want all those people that participated in the terrorist attacks on Israel to be dead. You know, that's what I would want myself. But I don't have a horse in the game, right? And I think a lot of people, and this is one of the main points that I wanted to make, I think a lot of people are a little jaded at what's happening, right? So it's like, if you know a lot of Arabs or Palestinians or maybe even Muslims, right? I'm sure you hear all the time from them, man, Israel is fucking with us. Israel's doing this. Israel's doing that. Israel's doing this. Israel, apartheid state. They're abusing us. They're raping us. They're murdering us. All these things, right? And if you have Jewish friends or Israeli friends, or I suppose even Israeli sympathizers, right? Like these people, especially this last week, they keep talking about this. Now I get it. It's fresh. It's new. But generally speaking, these people also talk about how at least in my experience, how animalistic and savage Palestinians are. Not the Hamas, but all of Palestine, right? And even if that were true, right? The point I'm trying to make is, I think the average Joe that doesn't have a horse in the race, I say this because I am one of those people. I'm neither a Muslim, nor am I Jewish, nor do I really care as much as like a Muslim or a Jew might care about the situation, right? I'm a little bit detached from it, right? The same way that like I'm sure an African might care more about the Rwandan genocide, and I'm just detached from it. I'm like, oh, I don't have a horse in this race, right? So, you know, I'm getting it from both sides. A lot of people that I know are like, oh, all Jews are animals. All Palestinians are animals. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stupid shit, right? And to be honest, my reaction is like, I'm trying to listen to everybody, right? Because I understand it's cathartic for them, right? And I don't really know anybody that is like pro-Hamas. I don't know anybody that's pro-Hamas. That's what I should say. But I do know people, right, that I'm not as close to, but like we talk all the time, that I know that they're like anti-Israel generally, right? They're not for the attacks, but they're anti-Israel generally. So where I stand in the middle, and I think I speak for a lot of people, is that we're fucking tired of this shit, man. You know, I'm tired of people downloading their emotional problems onto me, right? It's really that simple, man. You know, I'm not your fucking therapist. You know what I mean? I'm only the therapist of the hater fans, cucks. But I'm not your therapist. So I think that's where a lot of this indifference comes from, right? It's like I've seen in my personal life, a lot of my Jewish friends really trying to like essentially recruit me and my friends as sympathizers, they're like, oh my God, can't you believe this? Can you believe this happened? It's so horrible. And I'm like, yeah, it's fucking horrible, right? And then we've established that it's horrible. Like, I've agreed. Then these people might like continue to ask me, right? Hey, so, you know, you stand with Israel, right? Now, I also have plenty of Jewish friends that didn't do this, right? Some of them are handling it in different ways, right? Some are more emotional than others. But I think the big takeaway for people that are on neither side, like axiomatically, right? The big takeaway is that a lot of people just don't really care enough. I mean, I know that sounds cruel, but it's fucking true, right? It's true, you know? Like, I care about the human life, but I think a lot of people don't. And even the people that do care about human life, they care about other things more, right? Even things that are way less important, right? So, for example, like if Final Fantasy comes out tomorrow, or I'll use an example, there's a Spider-Man 2 comes out next week, right? I want to play Spider-Man 2. That's what I'm looking forward to, motherfucks. I don't really give a flying fuck about geopolitics on the day that Spider-Man comes out, right? Because I have my own fucking life, right? And I want to enjoy myself. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of, right? I think it's like, since both sides really, really lean hard on the general public, and they all play the I'm suffering argument, right? Which Nietzsche called slave morals, right? They both play that argument, and the rest of us are like, all right, man, like, I don't want to be rude or anything, but can you just fucking suffer in silence, right? That's what people want to say, but you can't say it because that's cruel, right? So that's what I'm getting at, motherfucks. Hopefully this thing ends with peace. The Hamas are complete animals, and personally, I support anything that is, well, not anything, obviously, right? Like if Israel starts, I don't know, just like burning people alive as well, yeah, obviously I don't support that, right? But retaliation of any kind of reasonable nature is, expected, and I think is perfectly fine. So with that being said, motherfucks, take care of yourselves and don't hate anybody. You know what I'm saying?